Stanley, Scuba, Sailing, and Adventures. I appreciate you being here with me to log an entry in the travel journal. If this is your first time, please hit that subscribe button. Today we'll be scuba diving St. Kitts Old Road Bay. Here we are at the beginning of Dive 8 in this 19-part dive series. All of the dives in this series were recorded during a week-long liveaboard dive trip, starting in St. Kitts, cruising and diving in Saba, and then ending in St. Martin, although we did not do any diving in St. Martin. As I mentioned, this is Dive 8 in the 19-part series, and if you've been following along, you'll know this is Day 2, and this is actually the 4th dive of the day. I've been working on my editing techniques with the arrows, and this is a Stoplight Parrotfish. This is a rock hind. In the past, I would always manually try to track the arrow with the fish, and it didn't always work out well, and it was quite a bit of effort for it to not look very good. So I spent about 5 hours trying to figure out how to make the arrow track with the fish, and I think it works pretty well. Not certain if it was worth the effort. Anyway, I would appreciate some feedback. Let me know what you think. Do you like the arrows? Do you like the smoother arrow tracking? Drop the arrows. I'll look for your feedback. I think I see something in the water column there, and we'll move closer at a slow and steady pace to see what it is. That is indeed one of my favorites, a porcupine fish. And I'm assuming you can see it, and I don't need to use an arrow. The porcupine fish range in size from 1 to 2 feet, reaching a maximum of 3 feet, and are most often found in depths of water from 10 to 60 feet. The porcupine fish. The distinctive features include small dark spots over the entire body, including the fins. I would think those eyes and the mouth and the body shape would also be distinctive features, but they're not listed in the book. As far as the book I'm referencing, I still use paper books to look up fish, and I use the Reef fish identification books. They come in a 3-part series, and I suspect I should do a video on those sometime. Mine are well worn. He doesn't seem interested in spending time with us, and we're not going to chase him. I see a chain Moray Eel. Terribly exciting. I don't see that many chain Moray Eels. They range in size from 1 to 1.5 feet, reaching a maximum of 2.5 feet, and are most often found in depths of water from 0 to 40 feet. The chain Moray Eel. Distinctive features include the pale yellowish to bright yellow chain-like markings. What a beautiful scene. Look at all of those fish and all of the colors of the reef. Spectacular dive site. Is that another porcupine fish? I don't think that could be the same one. We'll see if we can get closer and get a better look. It wouldn't surprise me if it was another porcupine fish. This is an extremely large reef, and there's a lot going on here. Sometimes they'll kind of stand their ground. I don't know if it's their home or what causes them to behave that way, but sometimes they'll just stay right in front of the camera and they won't move from a certain area. They'll swim around a little bit, but they'll just keep coming right back to the camera. That's not exactly the behavior we're seeing here, but we'll follow a little bit, but we're definitely not going to chase anything. And it looks like this porcupine fish is headed right over toward my dive buddy Mitch. And it's possible he's not even going to see it. There's always so much going on in the water. It's very easy to swim right past something or have something swim right behind you. Again, just a wonderful dive site. We've got so much going on here. Tremendous number of fish. Lots of growth. Large barrel sponges. So much to see. I believe I provided some information about barrel sponges and growth rate in the last video, so I'm not going to do that again. Look at that sunshine coming through on the reef. What a beautiful afternoon dive. The dive started at about 1:45 in the afternoon, lasted almost nearly an hour, and I recorded an average depth of 47 feet and a maximum depth of 64 feet. My dive computer reported a very comfortable average water temperature of 84 degrees Fahrenheit. In regard to the visibility, what you see is what you get. I would guess 60 plus feet. This is indeed a massive reef that seems to go on and on. This is our second dive on this dive site, and I don't think I saw any of the edges of this reef on either dive. Here we have a goatfish, And I think I covered the goatfish in the last video. They have those little barbels that fold out in front and they can use them to dig in the sand. Every once in a while you have to pan around to see if the dive group's anywhere close by. Just kidding. I usually have a pretty good idea of where my buddy is and where the dive group is. I tend to film in the other direction and not include a lot of divers in my dive videos, which you've probably noticed. I think this may be some sort of old fishing trap. I wouldn't call it a net necessarily. I didn't end up doing the night dive at this site, although one was offered. I would imagine it was probably a really good dive site. There's so much growth, I can't imagine that there aren't a whole bunch of things underneath that come out at night. There's a large arrow crab down in this crevice. Well, large for arrow crabs, I guess that's a relative term because they're very small typically, but this arrow crab is down in here and I just can't get any closer to give you a better view, but that's what I was attempting, so hopefully you saw the arrow crab in there. And it's right at the base of this giant barrel sponge. Here we have another rock hind. I pointed one out to you early on in the dive. The rock hind range in size from 8 to 14 inches, reaching a maximum of 2 feet, and are most often found in depths of water from 2 to 100 feet. There seem to be a cluster of feather dusters here, and feather dusters are actually worms and they will retract. I'm going to not get close enough to scare these so that they retract, but we'll go in for a closer look. Again, these are called feather dusters and they are a type of worm. They're filter feeders. Massive barrel sponge to the left here is probably got to be at least 100 years old. Here we have some pipe sponges. They look almost purple. This is your chance to let me know more arrows or less arrows. I assume I don't need an arrow for this one. This is a balloon fish. The balloon fish range in size from 8 to 14 inches, reaching a maximum of 20 inches, and are most often found in depths of water from 6 to 50 feet. The balloon fish. The distinctive features include long spines on the head, small dark spots on the body, no spots on the fins, and of course, the shape of their body. The balloon fish. How exciting. I don't see that many of them. I see a lot more porcupine fish, but to see one of each on the same dive, spectacular. The fish doesn't seem particularly interested, so we will not pursue. Having a great time diving here in St. Kitts at the Old Road Bay dive site. Look at all of those barrel sponges. Again, some of them are so large, they've got to be at least 100 years old. This reef has obviously been around for a long time. Massive barrel sponges. And these aren't even the largest ones we've seen on this dive. Recall that barrel sponges are animals. Filter feeders, of course. And don't forget to peek inside, because you never know what you'll find. Sometimes nothing. Wow, these are really some cool looking sponges, and it looks like we have a bunch of feather dusters on them as well. I see at least 4 feather dusters. Looks like we have a smallish, maybe still juvenile, invasive lionfish. And I don't know if this is the parent, but this is definitely an adult lionfish. Again, the lionfish are invasive here in the Caribbean and are quite destructive and quite a problem. Curious what your thoughts are on invasive species, if they should be allowed and nature should be allowed to take its course, or should we take steps to try to control the invasive species? And I don't mean just with fish. Obviously, that's a problem in several other areas as well. Southern Florida has invasive snakes and invasive iguanas. And again, not just limited to Florida, but please share your thoughts. Here's one that doesn't usually get much attention, and I'll often swim right by them. But I heard a very interesting story about someone collecting these and smuggling these out of the Florida Keys. Anyway, I won't go into that story, but this is the sea cucumber. This in particular is a donkey dung sea cucumber. It's quite attractive, don't you think? Again, not going into the details, but I believe they were being smuggled out of the Florida Keys as a delicacy in another country. Here we have another rock hind. I believe that's the third one on this dive and in this video. So, no arrow this time. Check out those barrel sponges. And something caught my eye below. It's another balloonfish. What an incredible dive. I wasn't keeping score, but I think that's one porcupine fish, or two porcupine fish, and two balloon fish now on the same dive. I really enjoy seeing both porcupine fish and balloon fish. And in the book that I use to look fish up, they're actually in a category called odd-shaped swimmers, which I think makes me like them even more. How fun to be characterized as an odd-shaped swimmer. Oh, wow, and yet another balloon fish. This one is pretty small. I don't know if that's a juvenile. That is definitely a first for me. I don't think I've ever seen a juvenile balloon fish, and certainly not with an adult. I've never seen two together ever. How very cool. This is turning out to be just a spectacular dive. Love those big bulging eyes. Again, no fast movements, not chasing anything. We're just trying to see if we can hang out and spend a little time together. The little one almost seems to be a little lighter on the sides in color. And just like that, it was time to go back up. What a way to end the dive.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.